All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Ask an Angel free call. I want to remind you guys these calls are every Sunday at 2 o'clock New York time, as long as I'm capable or in the area and around. And they're free and they're for everybody. So please go ahead and tell your friends and family and remind them that they can get on and be in the presence of Raphael's sweet energy, which is so powerful. You know, I get so many messages from people. Maybe we should ask Raphael this today, that say, I cannot stay awake through the transmission. I mean, I'm probably 10 to 12 a day on Instagram. And so if that is your experience, whether you're taking a class with me and you're doing the light codes, or you just happen to pop in on Sundays and you find yourself falling into a deep sleep, do not worry about it. You're still receiving the information. It's very, very, very vibrational. And it's deep and it's powerful and it's happening whether you're awake or not. So let that worry fall to rest. All right. So if you are new to this call, my name is Kelly and I've been channeling since 1989. During the harmonic convergence, you know, as I later in life have been reading different things, I find that this was very common, that a lot of people really woke up at that time, and there was an insurgence of energy coming from other dimensions that were entering people. And I just happened to be one of them, along with my sister. And I was not trying to channel. I did not have any idea what channeling was, nor was it certainly something I was summoning. I was an art student in college, kind of minding my own business. And through a sequence of events, especially a type of body work that was being done on me, my system just opened and the Kundalini literally started to rise spontaneously in my body, simultaneously with my sister. And we both started to make these sounds and toning, and our hands would move all over the place. And this beautiful energy came in, and we asked it what it was, and it said it was the Archangel Raphael. And we've been talking to Raphael ever since. And I have been very blessed to have lived an extraordinarily beautiful, healthy, lovely life. Well, maybe not healthy. I've had a lot of health issues, but a lot of growth, a lot of change, a lot of healing on this journey with Raphael, and opportunity to see things from new perspectives and to embrace life and the joy of life in each breath, in gratitude to be here, and also to find the magic that's kind of always there. It's just sort of our willingness to open our eyes and look for it and notice it. But when we do, life becomes so magical. So sound is good here. Good. Okay. Hopefully you guys can hear me all right. So today I have nothing planned other than so many people have been asking questions about the light codes. So let's just ask. Let's ask Raphael. Go right to the source. Well, what are we doing and why are we doing it? And see what comes up. All right. So if you've never been on a call before, I tone and I sing and my hands move and my eyes are closed and I rock back and forth and I look like a crazy person. I do need to turn the microphone off for that because it disturbs the volume. So you'll just see it'll look silent, like I'm not here, and I'll be kind of moving around, and then I'll come back in. And my lovely and wonderful son, Casey, is hosting, and he'll say hello to Raphael, and then we'll get started. If anybody has a question that's not personal, but is in relationship to the codes that we're working with, and in any way, and you want to pop it in the chat, please feel free to do that, and we can address it as we go along. And in terms of personal questions, while we're talking about that, I have this beautiful deck of cards that will be coming out. I don't know when, but sometime. And in the meantime, I've been doing fun free readings for everybody, and it has been really, really fun. So if you do want to have a personal reading and it's free, keep an eye out for the emails that you get, because I spontaneously will wake up someday, usually once a week, and I'm like, okay, tonight I'm going to do it. And we pop on at 6, and you can raise your hand and we can read what codes are coming up for you and for what reason. All right, with that, let's get started. And Casey, you there, darling?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. Oh, and for those of you who've had a phone call with Casey to understand more about the different things that we do, I believe your coupon expires tomorrow, and the 50% off on the I Am Creation course, which was a fabulous course. It's about 40 hours of material. It's half off until tomorrow. So if you're trying to manifest something, that's the course to take. It's really amazing. Okay, here we go. Let me hit the speaker.
Hello.
Oh, wow. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Wow.
Hello.
Hello. You are being
Hello.
hello. Hello. Wow. And so it is our understanding that you're wanting to talk to us. And so what is it?
Hi, Raphael. So today we're really interested in what really goes on when we tune into the light codes with you. And so I guess the first question is a lot of people are having trouble staying conscious through the light code transmission. And I was wondering if you could speak to why are people struggling and is it okay to lose consciousness during the transmission?
Oh, oh, oh. Well, we love putting you all to sleep. No, it is that you are delving into some very, very deep aspects of who you are, in the deep, perhaps what you might call consciousness of self. And so it is that you cannot comprehend nor move through what is occurring with the thinking mind that begins to translate it into some type of story or form, or wants to identify it, or where the ego can attach to it in some way. And so you get, in a sense, knocked out by the vibration, by the energy of my light that is permeating through the cells of your being. And what is happening is that it is spiraling deep through the cellular level into the DNA, and it is turning on different aspects within you. And it is also deeply cleansing and releasing. And so often when you cannot stay awake, you are giving permission, although you may not have consciously intended or said that you are giving permission, but the higher aspect of who it is that you are is giving permission for from our perspective of where it is that we are, and the vibration which I am holding from a higher frequency, to be able to stimulate and to clear the debris, to wipe off in a slate, in a sense, to clean the slate, to let go of, and to allow different energies that have been stored or accumulated within your energetic field, that you are giving permission now to allow to come to the surface and to be transmuted and to be returned to source. But if you were fully aware and fully conscious of all of that which was happening, and there was, in a sense, a program or a story about it, or you were moving back through not only this lifetime or many other lifetimes, and you were experiencing almost like a flash or review of all of that trauma and all of those embedded energies, it may be too overwhelming. And so it's sort of like if you went in for surgery, you would have to have anesthesia to go be put out. You wouldn't want to be fully awake as they were removing perhaps a tumor or something in your brain. You would ask to be put to sleep. And so in a sense, you're giving permission to be knocked out while this process is occurring, knowing that enormous healing and the elevation of your vibration is occurring. And so many of you will say, well, I've tried over and over and over and over again to listen to a specific transmission or a specific teaching or a specific process in which we journey somewhere and are working with higher dimensional beings. And no matter how hard I try, I cannot stay awake. And that is because you recognize that you are receiving a deeper and more profound healing in the willingness to let go and allow it to take place at a different level. And so we want you to put to rest that you should be worried that you're not receiving the healing or the transmission or what is being needed, and that you can let go of that and know that your willingness to show up and to receive the transmission and to be in the vibration of the energies in which you are agreed to participate in with that are elevating your frequency is enough.
Thank you, Raphael. So my next question is, where did the light codes come from? And where are they being channeled from? And what is the purpose to transmit them to beings on Earth?
No, well, it's not so much that they came from anywhere as that they already always had been inside of you. They are a part of who it is that you are in relationship to time and space in the perspective of this particular planet and the lifetimes that you have led here. They are a part of you that has been veiled from remembering. In a sense, it is as though a door has come down or has been shut on a mystery, knowing and information and light that is inside of you, and you don't know how to access it anymore. You can't quite get to it, but somehow you know it is that it is there. And so from the vibration or the place in which you are here on Earth, which is a very dense planet that requires great courage to come to, that is a beautiful place to be in order to engage in the senses of the five senses and all that it has to offer. It is deeply still embedded in the energy of duality and of what many perceive or recognize as light or dark, and joy and sadness and playfulness and anger and all of the emotions that in a sense are polarizing in their energy and in their vibration. And it is that living here is not always so easy, but it is a place in which one can come to exponentially and quickly evolve their energetic being. And because that there has been this cloaking, in a sense, this disconnecting from light source for such a long period of time on the earth, you have been closed off from something that is inherently your birthright, that is and dwells inside of you. And many of you might perceive it or think of it as it is inside your DNA. It is coded within you. And yet from the vibrational frequency and perspective you are at, even with your science and the way in which you can measure and understand things, you believe that a large percentage of your DNA is worthless, or it is even labeled as garbage or junk. And it is that DNA that we are talking about, that when we shine light from our perspective, and when I say our, because often you think of me as an individual, as the Archangel Raphael, I am collectively attuned to an entire council of energies that vibrates and is in harmony with a frequency that is elevated in alignment with unity and with love. And it is that we are able to hold that frequency without dropping into the denser realities of the story of the unfolding of time and space, where it is that you are And we, in a sense, have been summoned or called by you, which in a sense is ourselves, because there is no separation. And yet, from the perspective of this explanation, we will think of it as though you are separate from us. There has been a calling, a pulling, in which we are invited as messengers of light. And our duty, in a sense, our job is to support in the awakening or the turning back on of something that is inherently already yours. And so it is not that we are giving you something, we are simply supporting you in releasing denser energies that come from this lifetime and other lifetimes based in this duality experience of trauma and pain and suffering that get embedded and encoded within you, that put you into a deeper sleep, that are also embedded by other energies that we often and do not like to give attention to or focus on or even talk about. But for this particular transmission, we'll refer to them for 1 second as shadow energies, in a sense, that have a vested interest in the sleeping population. And so it is, however, that they have no ability to keep you asleep due to the fact that you have free will. And so you are starting to recognize and awaken to the fact that there is more to life and that there is more to you, and that there is something inside of you that is stirring or awakening. And we simply are here to support the letting go of and opening up, in a sense, the doorway by shining higher vibratory frequencies upon the cells within the DNA itself that stimulate and awaken rememberings of dormant gifts that arise. And so this is not something to take lightly. And if you simply want to go through the human experience based in the construct of the form and reality in which it has been taught to you, in the story in which you perceive that it should be, such as getting up and going and having your job and having your family and going out for a couple drinks with your friends and learning something and then moving into something else and then dying, that has been the part of a reality in which you have been embedded in. And there is a lot of beauty in that third dimensional experience, and you can stay there. But if you are wanting to expand and to allow this light to come in and to move into the DNA, what starts to happen is you begin to awaken these dormant parts of yourself that have already been there. Not that we're giving them to you, but they already live and dwell inside of you. And part of the reason that you go asleep when we're working with the codes is because we're clearing away this debris, but you don't have to be conscious or attached to it in order for it to be cleared. And then the other half of working with the codes is sending so much light in it that it stimulates gifts and abilities and capacities within you, so that you start to attune to synchronicity, to magic, to the earth, to the heartbeat of the earth, to a more open heart, to a deeper and more profound relationship, to more abundance, to a greater connection with others, to the ability to understand and listen to your body, to go into higher dimensions and ask for support and help in the healing, to create miraculous healings in the body, to communicate telepathically, to begin to speak through and with light language, to open up the pineal gland and attune more, for your dreams to become more vivid and alive, to understand how to create and manifest in a quickened state and to align energies and vibrations, to learn how to perceive into other timelines or potential and infinite timelines that are in front of you, to begin to acquire and remember the knowledge and the information of the mystery schools, to remember the times in which you walked upon the earth in ancient civilizations, to attune to the fact that you can go through into the records of the Akashic and into the Emerald tablets and remember and understand information, to birth new ideas and possibilities to bring to the world, to awaken your purpose of this life beyond that of the ordinary. And as you all begin to work with each code, each one in itself is a little jewel that begins to awaken and blossom something in you. And these are different points upon the nodes of your grid around your being that many of you might even refer to as your auric field or your light body. And every time you connect with the transmission and the vibration of these higher frequencies, and you go deep into meditation and you journey through these processes as we work with you, and it's sometimes falling into deep sleeps and other times fully awakened, you are turning on. It is like turning a key and turning on the light that already is inside of you and unveiling it by releasing denser energies that then can come up and have their life and disperse back into where they originated from. And more light start to rise up within you until you begin to recognize and see that the mirrored reflection in the holographic field of your human experience is feeling more joyful, more connected, more together, more open, more awakened, your ability to be healthier, to attune what you need to do, to be clear, to be on purpose, to share your gifts, to birth new projects, to fall in love, to connect with others, to heal. And all of these things become second nature, just a part of your human experience, because you awaken to the master, the ascended master that you are. And collectively, all across the globe, this is happening. And so you are seeing this deep sense of polarization of moving into the depths of the darkness and the dismantling of the old all across the globe. And at the same time, the birthing and the beginning of the sprouting of a new life, a new paradigm, new communities, new perspectives, new technologies, new healing, new vibrational healing, new ways to come together in community and create anew. And so it is that we, when I say we, as Archangel Raphael, because that is the way through time and space in the history of your understanding, you were able to accept me as an angel with golden wings flying through the sky. It felt comforting and loving to you, and you could attune to that as me, as an angel, but energetically, I am simply a higher aspect and a part of you that vibrates at a frequency that is at a state that then that frequency of light is in a sense beamed toward you through the transmission, and it reaches deep, deep, deep into the DNA of who you are, and it hits it like turning it on. And those seeds then that are informing who it is that you are within the DNA that have been labeled as junk or dormant or garbage begin to feel and resonate with those higher frequencies. And then sound comes from them, and color comes from them, and geometry comes from them. And they begin to emanate something new as they are turning on like a key lock all over your body, turning on. And as we go through the codes, some codes that we work with will resonate with you, and some perhaps will not. Some will feel like a big breakthrough. Some will feel like you've gone backwards. Some will feel like I've done it, but how come this hasn't happened yet? Others, you will have an immediate, spontaneous awakening and growth period. But all of it continuously is working together to turn on this light that already resides inside of you. And then you begin to vibrate more and more at that new vibratory frequency, which means that not only is that supporting and helping you, but then whoever and wherever you go, simply the walking through a store or a bar or a village, the master turns more light on within that place, because you are doing this not only for yourself, but collectively. And this is happening all over the globe, and it's being done in different ways. They may not be called light codes. It may be different practices, different ways on little nodes of light that are all over the planet. And as this particular group that came together and chose to connect at this time, because you are a family, even though you don't recognize it in that way, for you may not have the same blood and genetic coding going through you, you are star beings that chose to arrive and to be here at this particular time on Earth, as it is moving through the birth canal of this transitional period before it births something new. And you are here to be to ignite this awakening and to hold these frequencies. And so these different little grids are being built, and there are infinite ones all the way down into the DNA and through the body, beyond the body, expanding out into your auric field and growing around the entire planet, and then layers and layers around the planet. And as these nodes of light begin to glow and awaken and vibrate at a higher frequency, they catch a resonance with other nodes of light, and it begins to form a web. And this web is this golden web of gold light that is threaded around the planet, that then bursts into a new reality. And because there is a great choice point right now, a very, very powerful choice point, and there will be infinite and multiple, as there are now, realities occurring simultaneously. But because in addition to your personal realities are infinite and different all from one another, as is a snowflake or your fingerprint, it is that collectively you have been holding still very much one reality, one agreement as a collective species of the way in which you perceive and view the earth and how it works and how it operates. And yet that is dismantling, and multiple collective realities are being born. And so in the choosing to allow the light to penetrate inward and to awaken you to the gifts of realities and experiences that you once understood and knew, and to speak and take complete and absolute and full responsibility for your life, is not so easy in the human experience. And that is what is required when you are going to hold that much of frequency to birth a reality in which you are moving on a particular timeline that you want to align with, because you fully awaken then that you are the master creator of your experience, and the energy of the perpetrator and the victim and the vibrations of these old ways of perception no longer can be applied to your story, because you are in a completely new vibratory way of perceiving and recognizing the unfoldment and the beauty and the entanglement and the web and the energy of how all things come together through agreement from the beginning of time into the infinite realms and beyond. And from that, you are then awake. And in that awakened state, you begin to live in a collective reality where others who are in that same vibratory frequency start to come into your reality and your experience, and you start to accumulate together like magnets that are attaching to one another, and you birth then this reality where your perception of what is happening is not that the entire world is dismantling or falling apart, but that rather it is birthing something new, and that you are the catalyst, that you are the forerunner, that you are piercing the veil into that dimension, which many of you call the fifth dimension. But it is not that you fly up in the air to a new place. It is that the reality that you are already in begins to match the vibratory frequency you're holding by all the light that has come to the surface from receiving the codes. And then you are holding that reality, and collectively around the globe through different modalities and practices, not just the ones in which we do together, they too are holding that, and then you form a whole new reality. And then simultaneously, there will be a world where there is great despair, great destruction, great sorrow, and great pain. And it is not that that world is less than, or they are dark, or that they are bad, or it is just a different way of being and perceiving that catapults even more growth. It is like throwing you into the pool as a child in the deep end and making you learn how to swim. And it may not be easy, but you will survive or you will not. And some will choose that reality to experience the intensity of that and to grow exponentially in many levels. But nobody will be coming in with an arm from outside to save you from that. It is your choice there to be in that, remembering that whichever place you choose to land or to be, on the deepest level, you did choose it. And so those often who will choose that other reality are more likely in a deepened sleep, not taking responsibility for their experience, still operating out of the role of the victim, or still operating out of the role that they somehow are being put upon, or something like that. Even these conspiracy theories that you find popping up everywhere, all over your planet, often a lot of them, there is some truth in it, because they can see beyond the matrix into the essence and the kernel of some truth. But when they grab onto it in a way that only they are right and you are wrong, they are actually reversing themselves back into the paradigm of duality and separation, of right and wrong, pitting oneself against oneself, which is actually themselves. And so they're not recognizing that it is them that is doing what it is they think is doing to them. And it is that there is a need to, yes, shine light upon it, and to bring healing to it, and to bring forgiveness, and to bring love to it. And so it's as if you collectively have lived lifetimes after lifetimes after lifetimes, playing different roles in the same pods with the same people over and over, figuring things out. And in that, there is a moment where you decide to really grow, not to repeat exactly the same, to wake up, and the codes wake you up. And in that awakening, they also awaken you to miraculous ways of being, perceiving, and understanding, where you can hear those on the other side of the veil. You can communicate with those who've passed. You can open your pineal gland and choose timelines. You can talk to the animals and hear and feel what they are saying. And you take the time to do it. It is not something that happens or is only occurring in some magical movie. You start to harness your gifts that may be labeled in the past as extraordinary, that will become commonplace. It will just be how it is that you are. And your technology has been a training wheel on many levels to a lot of the gifts and the ways of being and perceiving that will become commonplace in your reality, that it has just opened the pathway or the doorway to you that it is possible. Just like a very long time ago, if someone said you could be looking at a box and seeing someone across the world as if they on Star Trek, they appeared, you would say that's impossible. And yet we're doing that here right now. But you don't even need the box to do it. You see, you've just created something as a tool to convince yourself that the technology is doing it, but you're already collectively operating at higher frequencies, and you'll be able to take the training wheels off, and the tools themselves will not be needed, because you'll be able to recognize that you can do all these things yourself. And so there are all the codes in which we gave to Kelly, and we continue to add more and more and more to them. And then somebody else perhaps will take over, depending on how long she can receive our information and input. And we have her look at things and read things and tune into words so that we can go into her brain and we can gather and swirl the information that is needed to bring it forward to all of you, so that you can receive it in a story or in a mythological way that you can understand. But really, all that's happening is that we're transmitting to you higher frequencies through each code, and each one is turning a key and turning on something in your light body that is lighting you up to a higher octave, so that you are in a fully awakened state, able to choose the reality in which we are speaking of.
Thank you, Raphael. And so when diving into the body of work that has already been created with the light codes, do you suggest that there is a certain order that they're done in? Do you feel that people need to go back, or can they just jump in wherever? Or, how do we decide which order we're gonna, ingest all of this light in?
Well, obviously you want to ingest all of the light. You want to receive as much light as you can as you're lighting up your light body. But we understand that you're still living in the perspective of the human framework and construct of time, and dependent upon the amount of time or resources you have to attune to all of the information, it is dependent on how much light you're willing to acquire at any time. But it is holographic in nature. It is not linear. So although there is the beginning where you begin with the light code of the Earth star, and you will travel through the 33 and perhaps 44 and beyond codes, you can tap in anywhere where you are feeling called. Perhaps you are feeling called for miraculous healing in the body, where you really need to delve into and unwind the DNA and release these ancestral and linear beliefs that have been passed through your genetic coding and lifetime after lifetime, and unwind and allow them to be released. You may tap into the DNA code for healing. Or perhaps you're really wanting to align with your purpose and bring and seed and birth something new and bring it into form and reality. You may want to jump into the creation code. Or perhaps you have a relationship that you're deeply curious about your past and the contracts you have and why that person is in your life and they keep coming in and out, or it is or isn't working. You might work with the Council of Light and tune into that energy or vibration. Or perhaps you really want to open your pineal gland and work with it and learn how to attune to higher dimensions and be able to see beyond the veil. You'll tap into that. But you're still living in linear time, even though the codes are holographic. So you can tap into whatever one feels good. Ideally, you would move through all of them, but you can tap in now and then go back as time passes. But even though you're moving in linear time where you are here, and even though the codes are holographic in nature, it is important to recognize that you need to receive them at whatever level you're ready to receive them at, because you have to take them in, and then you have to integrate and absorb them so you can perhaps start with one or two and take them all in. And then if you want to take a rest, you can come back to another. You want to integrate them into your entire being. You want to absorb them. And that's why we take a week off in between, so you can start to absorb what has already come. And so you can just relax into it and take it in. So it doesn't really matter in what sequence that they are done in, as much as you find your own intuitive knowing and you are called to what is calling to you. There was something which we were wanting to share with you, and we lost it in Kelly's mind, but perhaps it shall return in the question which was you were asking.
So I guess the next question is, what does this like expression of light look like in us physically, right? If I'm living my physical life and I'm taking in all of this light, how does that really look in my 3D experience? And the other question about that is like, I guess just stick with that for now.
Well, from our perspective, we see you and you are more lit. Now, you're glowing with more light. When we look at all of you, we see you as spheres. You might think of it like an orb, but you're not an orb. But we see you as spheres of light, balls of energy moving through. And where we are, that we are not operating from time and space in the dimension that I am operating in. It is not linear like it is where you are. But we can see that you begin to emanate more light. Now, you can also emanate much more light simply by attuning to the earth, by eating extraordinarily clean and vibrant food filled with light. That will help you to emanate light, to open up your heart and to be more compassionate. That will help you emanate light. There are many things to vibrate with joy and playfulness that will help you emanate light, to love another deeply and profoundly that will help you emanate light. But all the codes help you to do all of those things as well. And in order to emanate a lot of light, if there is a lot of heaviness or density that has accumulated through many lifetimes and in the ancestral lineage, that's why almost every code we go back on, and some level, it's very similar, each code, although profoundly different and important because they interlock together. We are clearing. You're always clearing something, and then you're receiving light. We're cleaning out, cleaning out, cleaning out. And that's often when you'll go into sleep and not be able to stay awake during the code, because we are dismantling and cleaning out, sweeping away, in a sense, old energies as they are returned back to source, not labeled as bad, and no need to go into the old patterning or way of clearing through identifying with the information encoded there or the story about it. We don't need the ego to attach to it. We can just clear it. So what does it look like? Well, from our perspective, you're emanating more light. What does it look like to those in your life? They may find you to be more calm, that you may grow a lot more. You may seem more at peace, more joyful, more playful. You might, in the opposite, you might find yourself going through a dark period, like the dark night of the soul, because you're diving deep and you're willing to clear it out and you're moving rapidly through it. It might appear to you that experiences and opportunities just keep flooding in and you're attuning to them. It might mean that you're becoming fully aware of who you are and you are getting your routine and your life deeply in order so that you may proceed laying the foundation and priming what is needed to move forward with your experience. But others may often see you as different. They might say, you've changed. You're not quite the same. Maybe you don't always fit in as much in certain places or situations. You might see things from a very different perspective. because you're not as embedded in the third dimension. And those things in the past that seemed joyful, yes, you may have some joy, but they may feel more meaningless in a way, because you are starting to operate at a higher level. And what brings you joy and encouragement and love and a sense of purpose and meaning will begin to shift, because collectively you all have to begin to shift if the human race is going to survive the birthing process of the earth moving into a higher vibratory frequency. You will have to either align and birth through with her, or you will drop the body, the form, and that's okay. You'll merge back and something new will be born. Either way, there is no right or wrong, but you are deeply at a crossroads in the collective of the human race, in that the extinction rate of the many of the species around your planet are falling away. And it is that you are operating from a different level due to different parts of encoding within you. And if enough of you wake up and enough of you receive this light and are emanating this light, then you will be able to operate from new perspectives in your choices. And that alone will allow the planet to come back into balance. It may not return to the way that it was, but it will thrive and it will begin anew, and there will be new communities, new perspectives, new ways of agriculture, new ways of living, new ways of building. A whole new future will be born. And it is that reality, if you're wanting to maintain yourself here in physicality and form through time and space, that you will want to emanate as much light as you can. And so the light requires you to go inward, and you emanate more of it, and things sometimes will shift, or your relationships will change, or where you felt comfortable before and at home no longer will vibrate with you. It takes courage to embody the light, but it also carries with it magnificent gifts, awakenings and openings that catapult you and the collective into higher dimensions.
Thank you, Raphael. And so through this whole process, I know other people have kind of felt, can feel a little bit ungrounded. And I was wondering, how can we stay grounded while receiving all of this light?
Yes, it is very important, and that is why we are embodying. And the next code is personal power, and it will require really becoming untamed, wild, letting go of the constructs of the old paradigm and realities, and to be more raw. And in that rawness, to embody yourself in your body, to love your body, to every aspect of it, to allow the wild, untamed part of who you are to come out and to stand empowered in your body here in the human form, and in a way to embrace what we call the dark. To go inward into the dark, into the power aspect of yourself, into the humanness of yourself, into the deep into the earth and the rawness of your being, so that you may embody, ground, and anchor in some of the higher codes that have come in before we move into real high codes like light language and fifth dimensional energy and the hypogeum and things like that. You will be this personal power code. You can align with the vibration of the jaguar and the fierceness and the tiger and Kali and all of that energy, so that you learn how to have boundaries and not to please others, to stand in your strength, to move forward with who you are, to embody yourself, to love yourself, to not be ashamed of who you are, to release any guilt, to stand strong and empowered in your being and in your body. And so it is our deep desire to be able to formulate the process of the codes to encourage you to both ascend into higher realms in the lightness of the angelic vibrations, and at the same time to attune to the earthly grounded energy of going deep into the earth and to feeling the presence of her elements and her heartbeat and the wildness of your humanness, and to embrace your human experience and your sensual experience and the sexual experience and the grounded and fierce energy of standing in your power. And so it is the merging of both. And that is why we started with the Earth Star, to ground you. And then we went to second into the starseed origin code, as that held the container between the heavens and the earth, as above, so below. And then in between all of that, within the sphere, more codes will be turned on. And so each of them have their place, and each of them ignite and turn something on within you.
Thank you, Raphael. And we'll continue to do activations on the free call. And for people who aren't joining the codes, the activations are also very powerful, correct?
Yes, of
Free call.
course. And we bring to you every Sunday as much light and as much of our love and as information as possible.
And I guess the last question is there a conflict between surrendering and stepping into your power?
No.
And
Usually I talk a lot, and I could about that if you are wanting, but no, stepping into your power can be surrendering. Surrendering is not laying a flat on the ground and giving up. Sometimes to be standing in your power, really deeply in your power, is the ability to let go and to surrender into the trusting. Now, we do not want people, as we shared this with Kelly, and you were talking about it, Casey, as well, to confuse surrendering, trusting, allowing, and unfolding to be misinterpreted as laziness, victimhood, complacency, in inaction. They're two different things. You have to intend, create, do everything you can to bring something that you are wanting to form into reality, into experience, and then you let go, you surrender, you trust to the unfolding of life. But it is a combination. It is both. It is not one or neither, or it is the two together. And so you intend, you plant the seed, you water the seed, you nourish it, you bring it to life with whatever tools that you have by weeding it and caring for it. And then you allow it to unfold in its divine timing as it should, trusting that it will unfold that or something better, and you let go. But you don't just start off the process with letting go without planting anything or without watering it or without tending to it. And so it is both.
Thank you, Raphael. I think that's all for today.
All right. Well, many blessings, much love, much talking today. And we love you so much and are here for you. For it is that although I come through this one, I am within all of you. And I love all of you. And I dwell inside of you. And I am in your heart. And you may call upon me and ask for me to be there, along with many of the other beings of light that are here hovering around your planet with great vested interest in the awakening of the collective human race to a higher octave and vibration based in love and unity. So do not ever fear that you are alone or by yourself, for we are always right here. We simply need an invitation. Many blessings, much love, and good day. Yeah. Mhm. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for checking in. I had no idea it was going to come up, but that's what we got for today. I'll do a free Ascended Master call with the cards next week, so look for an email. Personal Power Light Code starts on February, I think 13th, so you can look for that. If you want to pop in the creation code, we're halfway through. You can catch up and continue with us. We're birthing new possibilities. It's been really powerful. And I hope you have a beautiful Sunday. And I'm sending you all lots and lots of love. And I think that's it. And anything else, Case?
No, I think that's all.
All right. Oh, yeah. The I Am Creation course is 50% off till tomorrow. And if you have a code with Casey, it also ends tomorrow. So check your email. Okay. Love you guys. Sending you all the light and love in the world. Have a beautiful, beautiful Sunday. I unmuted you so I can say goodbye.
Love
Thank
you.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Love, love, love.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Kelly.
guys.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
Rafa.
So
Thank
much.
you, guys.
Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly.
Love, love, love.
Love, 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 love,
Love, love.
love.
So much, Kelly.
Love.
Love you so
Thank
much. So
you.
grateful.
Love
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Girl.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Love.
Love you.
I am gratitude. Peace.
Yes,
Love and light.
gratitude and peace for sure to everyone around the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got this. We got this.
Yes.
Yes, and thank you, Casey, for being there and helping out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Keep holding
Yeah.
the
Thank you,
light,
Brother
everybody.
Casey.
Thanks to Casey. He's the
Yes, thank
guy.
you.
He's
Thank
our
you,
guy.
Kelly. You're amazing.
Love you, Casey.
That was all.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Adorable.
Love you all.
Love, love everybody. Sleep tight or whatever, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. All right. I'm gonna hang up.
Love to everyone.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Go.